everyone, Codec here, and welcome to Arc Raiders. This video is coming to you a little later than I would have wanted, but I'm newer to the process of making long-form videos and wanted to take my time with it. So here it is, and I hope you enjoy it. If you enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitch. It's free and helps out the channel. I love making videos like this and can't wait to make more. For the first time, many of us finally got to see and experience what Embark's been doing with Arc Raiders since they first announced it back in 2021. For those of you who don't know or aren't familiar with Embark, they're the same dev studio behind the finals, a unique take on conventional team-based PvP. It's honestly a bit of an underrated game in my opinion, and I would encourage you guys to check it out. Within the dev team at Embark are some former DICE members, and it certainly shows in their games. From the designs and level destruction, to gunplay and audio. We'll get into that a little later. The initial announcement trailer captured the attention of many onlookers with its beautiful cassette futurism aesthetic. Its post-apocalyptic world and the dangerous environment it presented also generated curiosity. Originally a co-op PvE game akin to that of Helldivers 2, Arc Raiders was designed as a group effort PvE game in which players would travel to the surface and work together in fighting machines known as Arc that ravaged the world above. But Embark would later alter this PvE aim direction of the game towards the PvPvE extraction shooter model it is today. Now some of you might be thinking, not another soon-to-be failed extraction shooter. And while I understand that sentiment, this game has managed to stand out. Set in a distant future here on Earth, you'll embark on topside adventures collecting materials to aid you as you explore the wasteland, gathering intel about the world to help civilization, who now lives in settlements below the surface. But you don't have much time above ground, and you're certainly not alone. Arc are on patrol, and other raiders are in need of the same supplies you are. Do your best not to alert these deadly machines, and if you come across other humans, just be careful who you trust. The Arc Raiders' sound design is incredible. The sound of you breaching a container indoors, alerting a drone flying around on your way to extraction, the guns, the gunfights, ambient sounds, it's all so good, and the sound travels the world very well. It's immersive, you can track targets, they've really done a great job with it. While sound plays a role in creating the immersiveness of Arc Raiders, the environment and attention to detail is what also sets this game apart. It has remarkable world immersion. I think other games in the genre forget to focus on this one major aspect. One of the most important elements that makes an extraction shooter stand out is how immersed in its world you can become. The third-person perspective also allows you to watch how your character interacts with the world. The small details in the way you run, fall, dive, roll, climb, interact with this world, it's all animated very well, and you can tell they put some time, effort, and thought into it. Same with the robots in the game. Embark apparently spent a couple of years using AI machine learning to train the bots to walk on their own, navigate around different obstacles, or even try to keep themselves flying or walking when missing propellers or limbs. This all plays a role in making the game feel believable and immersive. I think the boys over on the podcast put it well.
And I think that's why the people are vibing with this game so much. It feels so like intentional and thought through. And even if you don't like third person, even if you don't like extraction shooters, a lot of people are just like captivated by like, oh, they thought of that.
Yeah.
Like that's such a like good moment when you're like, oh, that sounds so good. Oh, they thought of that. It would do that. Like it just feels cool.
That encapsulates everything about Baldur's Gate that was cool. Was like I can't believe they thought of that. It can't be a lazy cash grab when they think of shit like that.
Yes, exactly.
Shoutouts to Veritas and Jesse Kazam. You guys should check them out, and I'll link their Twitch accounts below. Arc Raiders has beautiful aesthetic. Personally, I love cassette futurism. It reminds me of the kind of tech that we saw in movies like Ridley Scott's Alien, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Star Wars, and in a lot of 80s and 90s anime. They've made great use of the color palette and picked a good UI design for its menus and map. The items of clothing and gadgets on the different outfits, it all looks awesome, and it works super well with the setting and environment. Any good extraction shooter must have a level of intensity when it comes to the general feeling of the game, and I think Arc Raiders captures the right amount of intensity in their raids for their game. This doesn't mean there has to be a constant barrage of things happening or being overwhelmed with AI constantly. In a game like Tarkov, for example, intensity can come from silence, the unknown, the feeling of being watched that you can't shake, the reason you keep your head on a swivel. You not only have to watch out for players lurking around trailing you, but also the dangerous AI you'll accidentally bump into or who spot you and alert the others. The AI feel pretty good in this. It's not some dumb and mindless bot or something that 180s and head taps you. It feels sentient, it patrols, it's curious, it investigates and does pose a threat to players. Another neat feature of this game is that playing solo is viable. The game has a built-in matching system that when you queue solo, it attempts to put you in raids with other solos. You might get some duos and rarely some trios, but my overall experience as a solo was facing other solos. This makes matchmaking pretty quick and efficient, and it kind of prevents having to wait around for queues to pop. I really didn't feel like I had a hard time making progress as a solo either. I could get in, loot, maybe fight another raider or two, get my tasks done, and extract. Basically, playing solo didn't feel like it was a disadvantage or like I couldn't get anything done. Every successful extraction shooter will and should have the ability to play it solo, and this game has it. But if you squad fill or get a chance to team up with your friends, you also get shared progression, and this works on a lot of tasks. This is a feature I've wanted out of a game like Tarkov for a while. There were still a few tasks that were more player specific, but things like dealing damage and getting kills was shared. A very welcome quality of life feature for quests. Alright, I'm gonna move on because I could talk about so many things that this game does very well, but I don't want to make this video any longer than it has to be. But before we move on, there's one last thing I wanted to touch up on, and that's the down but not out player state. Pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. However, they've added the ability to still interact with the extraction terminals while being knocked. It's pretty sweet. I wasn't sure where to put this. Not because it's necessarily bad, but the gunplay could arguably be one of the least impressive parts of the game. It's a little slow due to the limitations with mag sizes and fire rates, but you can upgrade these at a cost of some mats. Switching to your secondary was also kind of painfully slow. Don't get me wrong though, it's still satisfying, it sounds great, it has some weight to it, so if you've played this, let me know what your thoughts were on gunplay specifically. There are things that make or break a shooter for people, and third person might be it for some. I initially went in thinking I really would not enjoy third person, but honestly, there's so many great things about this game that I'm willing to overlook it and really don't even care that it's third person anymore. It works really well with the game and I can see why they did it. I don't expect everyone to quickly accept it the way I did, and I get it can be cheesy, but the devs have said they don't plan on adding first person. Either way, it's not really enough to keep me from playing the game, but others might not feel the same. So this appears to have been intentional, I'm not quite sure, but you can load in 10 to 15 minutes late into a raid, leaving you only part or half of the timer to raid. Not saying you can't do a quick raid in 10 minutes, but this means you're joining an already ongoing raid. From what I remember, the loot had respawned, but you were moving through areas others have already been, or potentially running into people who were already on their way out. I don't know if this was only for the tech test to keep things moving along, or if it's an intentional part of the rating system. It's an interesting choice, but not a super game-breaking one, I guess. The limited backpack space was kind of a pain to work with. Being a veteran Tarkov player, I'm used to staying late in raids and looting as much as I can, or fighting players, maybe getting a bigger bag, and taking as much gear and loot as possible. So being limited to like 16 or 18 slots felt pretty restricting. Granted, some of the items do stack, but a fun part of killing someone is taking all of their gear and loot and extracting with it. The limited bag space made this a bit of a problem sometimes. Will it have enough content? During the 4-day test, we ended up quickly getting access to purple shields and weapons, so I fear the progression might be a little too easy to get through. I also know of some people who got through all of the tasks available, so I'm wondering how much more they're holding on to, if at all. There were rumors that we only saw 20% of what they had to offer, or that there were going to be 12 maps on release, but they were exactly that, just rumors. I never saw any concrete evidence to these claims. Personally, I'd like to see more weapons, maps, maybe a couple more different robots. I'd like to see an expansion of quests, narrative, exploration, and a great endgame. I want our creators to have long-term staying power. Maybe even a social hub where players can interact with each other and speak to the different traders. Kind of give this underground civilization an additional real feel to it. I mentioned this earlier, but how about some more guns? I'd like to see a wider variety. And how about some different ammo types? Perhaps some armor-piercing rounds, not so much against the shields for PvP, but for the PvE, the drones, and killer machines. Do we need a bigger loot pool? I feel like this game had a decent amount of things to loot. I also love that you could salvage the majority of items into crafting mats. It gave some meaning to the items that you looted and in choosing what you wanted to actually bring out of raid with you. Oh, and one last thing, please make finding those damn lemons and apricots easier. They were a pain to find and I only found like 2 of those little fruit baskets. I'm gonna wrap things up here because I could go on, but we'll save the rest for later. Before I do though, I wanted to remind you that the Summer Game Fest is June 6th and I think we can expect an announcement during it. I'll definitely be tuning in, I hope you guys do, and if we hear anything, I'll definitely be talking about it on Twitter under the same handle, I am Codec. There are a few things I didn't get to in this video and the skill tree is one of them, but I plan on making follow-up videos where I'll get into better detail about this and also the crafting system. These features are actually great additions to the game and they deserve their own videos. Keep an eye out for those in the future. Much like PUBG and Fortnite would each go on to further define and set a standard for Battle Royale games, our creators has all the makings to becoming that equivalent for extraction shooters. The Fortnite to Tarkov, if you will. New player or veteran to the genre, it's a game that you can sink hours into learning something new or grinding away with upgrading your hideout and the crafting system. The extraction shooter genre is a niche community and it's not an easy audience to please. We have a landfill of extraction shooters, some failed, others forgotten, but this game seems to be delivering. A game that managed to capture the attention of and pull in fans of the genre and others who've never cared to play one. I think our creators is going to do well. But that's enough for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one.